Did you think that your feet had been bound by what gravity?
Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with Los Angeles-based jazz singer Cathy Segal-Garcia on the 2021 CD Social Anthems Volume 1. Through this COVID pandemic, she searched back through the songs of the 60s and 70s to find inspiration. That was another period of American history full of strife and uncertainty. We explore this and quite a bit more during our talk. Enjoy.
Hey, thanks again for taking a minute out, and I want to dive right in. You know, we kind of talked before during the pandemic, and of course, it's still happening, and, you know, kind of we're still in that ambiguous zone, but you have a new album, Social Anthems Volume 1. Talk to me a little bit about what it means to have an album out now, you know, since we've had such limited chances to perform live in front of fans.
First of all, it seems to be getting some good reviews already. And second of all, I did have a CD release party last week, actually, that was really satisfying to me. We had a nice audience, actually, believe it or not. It was in a home venue. We had about 40 people in the audience, and it was great. And the band, all the band said, "Hey, let's do this again." There's a definite lack of venues to do it, you know, just obviously because of COVID. I've never been one to kind of stop and slow down because others said I had to, you know. I just always find a way to do something, you know.
Absolutely, and I think that's the thing about this pandemic that's been very key is continuing to do what you do, look at it as not time lost. We all have to live our lives. So talk to me a little bit about what you hope the listener, the one that buys the album or downloads this, what do you hope they get from this artistic experience?
This is very deep. It's deep for me, and I think it can be deep for others. The reason being is because of most of the songs are from a period, for me, in the 70s, and some are later, and I have one original also. But it's very, it stirs up what was happening and what I felt in the 70s. So I think there are other people who will feel like me regarding that. We didn't have the internet, but we knew some of the horrors that were going on across the planet. And we also, it was the time of love and hippies, you know. So we really felt like we were all together. So much of the same ideas and feelings are in the present time period. So that's why I think all ages, actually, of people will relate to it, because it's happening now and it was happening then, and it's basically, as history repeats itself, this is an example of how. So what I'd imagine that people would get out of it is a feeling of camaraderie and this renewed feeling of hope. I like to tap in to a vulnerable spot, and which has some pain in it, but it also has hope. That's what I like to deliver to the audience, and I think this record is very much along those lines. There's some really, like, Save the Children from Marvin Gaye, you know, it starts out by saying, who really cares? Who's willing to try to save a world that's destined to die, you know? And For What It's Worth and Get Together, Can't Find My Way Home, those are very strong statements. But whereas they tap into some kind of confronting the bad things that are happening, they also create this hope as well for the future, hope for mankind, you know.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. And there are such mirror images of how history will repeat itself. You know, during this time of reflection and quarantine and lockdown, there was a lot of time that people spent alone. And I want to know, what did you learn about yourself that maybe you didn't realize before that's going to make you stronger as you reemerge and perform live and have a new album out?
Now, that's a deep question, Joe. I'd like to hear your answer too to that. Well, for me, it might have been a little different because almost immediately I started doing my noontime hang. And for the first 9 months, I was doing it 6 days a week with all kinds of people, some famous, some non-famous, mostly jazz people. And the main thing I got out of it was that, strange as it sounds, because you would think that I would know this already, I really got this renewed sense that music is hugely important on the planet and really does tie in everybody and heals everybody. And you would think I knew that, but I think I almost felt like we were taking that for granted before. And now, because there's so many people online and delivering music and people are watching, I think that that sense is bigger. And as a matter of fact, when I did go out and perform, I felt different somehow when I was performing. I felt there was a new level of awareness that I had, and I felt it from the audience, too. The audience was right with me in that awareness. And I think it's along the lines of what I was saying, that people felt this camaraderie. They felt that music was really important and healing for them. That's what I felt over this time period. You know, I'm not a person who kind of sits in their sorrow or sits in their depression or something. I mean, I certainly had moments of depression, you know, but very fast, because I'm the kind of person who, when I see that I'm sitting there, I look immediately for a way to get out of it. And then I was busy, and I was busy with that, and I was busy actually in the studio too, producing some people and also working on my own projects. I think, you know, it's strange. Sometimes I think it's really strange being an artist. The way that we make money now has really changed and pretty much gone downhill, you know, unless you're somebody very famous who's selling records and on tour. The overview of that almost is very important in the last year and what has happened. For me, I'm okay because I'm okay. You know, I have a house and a husband and everything's kind of stable, right? But for a lot of people, that wasn't the case. Also that I had this show that I was doing almost every day. So that directed my focus.
The one thing that I'm kind of hoping for as we move forward here is getting some stories from people about things that are opening up, things that are hopeful, and you've mentioned some hopeful things. Talk to me a little bit about your itinerary and how you see things kind of unfolding as we move forward here. And I know that I actually saw a report yesterday that California actually has the lowest infection rate, the highest vaccination rate. There's a lot of things that are really positive about that. And hopefully with other stories about how, you know, the unvaccinated are getting so sick and almost dying, maybe things will start, you know, changing a little bit. But I guess from that perspective, as far as like being a performer, what do you see happening and unfolding as we move forward here?
Right now, I definitely see rooms opening up. You do have to show your vaccination card, but rooms are opening up. Los Angeles is, I've been here 40 years, so I've seen Los Angeles go through a lot of different states of operating, you know. And nowadays, I think there's a lot of kind of young blood, you know, modern jazz, very strong here. I always say we have an embarrassment of riches here as far as musicians go. A lot of people are moving to here from New York as well. There's a few series going on right now, Just Jazz series, which he had done for 2 years, one night a week, but now he's actually expanding to 2 nights a week. And then there's Sam First, which kind of took up the slack from the Blue Whale closing. And I do a lot of work at a friend's home venue, which is really, really a beautiful situation. Beautiful, large, spacious room with a great grand piano and lights and sound, and holds 70 people, and there's even a bar there. So that's really nice. I think people are going to create venues. Personally, in March of 2020, I was just about to go to Japan for 3 weeks, which I do every year. And it was right at the time when COVID started getting a real, upturn. And I decided not to go, which was, turned out to be a great idea. But I don't know when I'm going to go to Japan. Probably in a year, I would guess. No, I don't think earlier than a year. And I know people are traveling some. They're going to Europe. I keep hearing about that. For me, I never really had a booking person. I always did it myself. I always created gigs myself. So I would have to really get creative and find out where people are opening up and where people are working. I spoke to Sina E. the other day, and she's in Copenhagen, but she had a tour planned throughout America, and she had to cancel the whole tour. So I'm not sure how long that's going to take to come back into action. Again, I don't feel bad about it because I'm doing a lot here. I'm teaching and I'm doing gigs here. I have a jam session happening here, believe it or not. And I'm creating gigs here and there. So, and working in the studio again. So, and, I'm the person who has the glass half full. So I'm not deterred, actually.
Well, hey, Cathy, I really kind of wanted to hone in on what's going on and the new album. So thank you. I look forward to presenting it to my audience, and good luck with it, and good luck as we move forward.
Thank you, Joe. Good luck to you, too.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest singers in Los Angeles, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. Thanks to Cathy for her time, music, and story. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Down to the ground.
Neon Jazz.